Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
I'd really appreciate your comment. It helps me understand if you enjoyed the story and how I can improve in future ones. 3 days before our 5th wedding anniversary, I picked up my wife's phone to check the time and discovered she had changed my contact name to Mistake. Not a joke, not a typo, just Mistake with a red X emoji next to it. But what made my blood run cold wasn't the name itself. It was the text thread underneath it, where her sister and 2 closest friends were actively coaching her on how to publicly humiliate me at our anniversary dinner. It was Tuesday afternoon, 3:47 to be exact. I was working from home, sitting at the desk in our home office in Boulder. We'd set up this space together 2 years ago, picking out the desk, arguing over whether we needed 2 monitors or 1, compromising on everything like partners do. Or like I thought we did. My wife had left her phone face up on the shared desk when she went out to run errands. Said she was going to the grocery store and the post office. Should be back in an hour. I was deep into a report when her phone buzzed. The notification lit up the screen, bright and insistent. I glanced over to silence it. That's just courtesy when you work from home. You silence your partner's phone so they don't come back to a dozen missed notifications. That's when I saw it. My name. Or rather, what used to be my name. The notification preview showed a message from her sister, but above it, the contact name caught my eye. Where it should have said my actual name, it just said Mistake, with a red X emoji next to it. My heart skipped a beat. Actually skipped, like I could feel the rhythm break in my chest. My hands froze over my keyboard, fingers hovering over keys I'd been about to press. My stomach dropped in that elevator falling too fast way. I stared at the screen, waiting for it to make sense. At first, I thought maybe it was some kind of mistake, an autocorrect gone wrong, some weird glitch in her phone. But then I saw the emoji. That red X. You don't accidentally add an emoji. You don't autocorrect into a symbol. That was deliberate. That was a choice. Someone had to open my contact, delete my name, type the word mistake, select the emoji menu, scroll through to find that specific red X, and confirm the change. Every step of that process was intentional. We shared passcodes for emergencies. It was one of those relationship trust things we'd established early on. If something happens to one of us, the other should be able to access everything. Made sense at the time. Seemed like the kind of thing mature couples did. I picked up her phone. My hands were shaking slightly as I opened the message thread. Not from fear. From something else. Anticipation maybe. Or dread. The feeling you get right before you confirm something you already know is going to hurt. What I found made me want to throw the phone across the room. The group chat had 4 people in it. My wife, her older sister, and her 2 closest friends. The ones who were always over at our house. Always in her ear. Always had opinions about our relationship. I scrolled up and started reading from the beginning. The conversation went back 2 weeks. 2 full weeks of planning and plotting and coordinating. Her sister had written Monday night at 11:23. So we're all set for Friday? You're really going through with it? My wife responded 8 minutes later. I think so. He's been taking me for granted for years. Someone needs to knock him down a peg. I had to stop reading for a moment. Taking me for granted? I felt my jaw clench so hard my teeth hurt. I was the one who did the dishes every night because she said she hated the feel of soapy water. I was the one who handled the laundry because she always forgot to move things from the washer to the dryer. I was the one who'd been secretly planning a surprise weekend trip to the coast for after our anniversary. What exactly had I been taking for granted? The first friend chimed in Tuesday morning at 7:15. The restaurant reservation is at 7 p.m. Perfect timing. Friday night crowd will be packed. Maximum audience. Maximum audience. They were planning this like a stage performance. Like opening night of a show. My humiliation was their entertainment. The second friend at 9:42. OMG, I can't wait to see this. Have you practiced what you're going to say? My wife at 10:18. I've been rehearsing. Going to wait until after appetizers, then stand up and make the toast. Her sister at 12:33. Remember, keep it calm and dignified at first. After 5 years, I've realized some mistakes take time to recognize. Then hit him with the real stuff. The first friend at 1:05. Have you thought about changing his contact name in your phone? My therapist says symbolic gestures help you commit to decisions. My wife at 1:47. Just changed it to Mistake. Feels empowering actually. That message was sent less than 2 hours ago. While I was sitting here working, she was out somewhere, changing my name in her phone and feeling empowered about it. Her sister at 2:15. Perfect. And you're sure about the gift swap? My wife at 2:33. Yes. He thinks I'm getting him the watch he wanted. Instead, I'm giving him divorce papers wrapped in anniversary paper. In front of everyone. I had to read that twice. Divorce papers. Actual divorce papers. Wrapped as a gift. The second friend at 3:12. This is going to be legendary. Please let me film it. My wife at 3:28. No filming. But you'll all be there to support me. I've already told his parents and my parents that we need to have an important family conversation at dinner. Both of our parents. She'd invited both families under false pretenses. They thought they were coming to celebrate our anniversary. Instead, they were going to witness my public humiliation. Her sister at 3:41. He has no idea, right? My wife at 3:44. None. He's been planning his little toast about 5 wonderful years. It's going to be so satisfying watching his face when I go first. I set the phone down carefully. Very carefully. Like it was an explosive device that might go off if I moved too quickly. My hands had formed fists at my sides. My knuckles were white. Part of me wanted to storm into the living room when she got home and confront her immediately. Throw her phone at her feet and demand she explain herself. Part of me wanted to call both families right now and cancel the whole thing. Warn them. Tell them not to come to this circus. But something held me back. A better idea was forming. A clearer picture of what this actually was and what it required from me. If she wanted to make a spectacle out of our marriage, if she wanted witnesses and drama and a performance, then she was going to get one. Just not the one she'd rehearsed. She was going to learn that mistakes don't just belong to the person being blamed for them. I scrolled back further in the conversation. I needed to understand the full scope of this plan. 2 weeks of planning. 14 days of my wife coordinating with her sister and friends to orchestrate my humiliation. Reading through it chronologically, I could see how it evolved. How her sister planted the seeds. How her friends watered them. How my wife, slowly but surely, convinced herself this was not only acceptable but empowering. The dinner was at Flagstaff House Restaurant, a place with panoramic views of Boulder. We talked about going there for a special occasion. Upscale. Expensive. The kind of place where people propose or celebrate major milestones. The kind of place where everyone would notice a scene. She'd chosen it specifically for that reason. Maximum visibility. Maximum impact. I kept reading. My wife had listed grievances. Works too much. Doesn't appreciate me. Takes me for granted. Boring and predictable. Not ambitious enough. I had a standard schedule. I did more housework than she did. I was stable and reliable. Apparently, those were crimes. Her sister's messages were the worst. You need to reclaim your power. Show him you're not afraid to be alone. Public humiliation is the only way men learn. Make sure his family sees who he really is. But then I found something that made everything click into place. My wife had written that she wasn't actually unhappy. She just wanted to shake things up. The marriage had become too comfortable. She wanted to see me fight for her for once. She was planning to maybe take me back after I proved myself. This wasn't about our marriage being broken. This was a test. A game. Entertainment for her friends. A power play suggested by her bitter, twice-divorced sister. If she wanted to make a spectacle out of our marriage, she was going to learn that mistakes don't just belong to the person being blamed for them. I carefully took screenshots of the entire conversation. Every message. Every detail. Then I deleted the evidence that I'd accessed her messages. I placed her phone exactly where I'd found it. By the time she came home 20 minutes later, I was back at my desk, typing away like nothing had happened. "Hey, honey," she said, kissing my cheek. "How's work going?" "Good," I replied, studying her face. She looked nervous, fidgeting with her keys. "You okay?" "Yeah, fine. Just thinking about Friday." "You're still excited, right?" "Absolutely," I said. "Can't wait." That night, she was restless beside me in bed. I could feel her tossing and turning, the mattress shifting with every movement. I could practically hear the wheels turning in her head. She kept checking her phone, the light from the screen casting shadows on the ceiling. I pretended to sleep, keeping my breathing slow and steady. She had no idea I knew everything. No idea that I'd read every word. No idea that I was 3 steps ahead of her now. Wednesday was spent watching her rehearse her lie. It was almost fascinating in a clinical way, watching someone you thought you knew become someone completely different. She was overly affectionate in the morning, kissing me longer than usual, hugging me tighter. Guilt manifesting as physical affection. She kept bringing up the anniversary dinner unpromisingly. Casual mentions that weren't casual at all. You're still excited for Friday, right? You're working on your toast? Both families are going to be there. It's going to be so special. I played along perfectly. Told her I was working on something special for my speech. That I couldn't wait to see everyone's faces. She smiled when I said that, but it didn't reach her eyes. There was something predatory in that smile. Something anticipatory. She thought she knew what everyone's faces were going to look like. She had no idea. Wednesday afternoon, I overheard another phone call. She was in the backyard, pacing on the patio. She thought I was in the office with the door closed. But I'd come downstairs for water and heard her voice through the open kitchen window. I stood there, glass in hand, listening. Her sister's voice came through on speakerphone. Loud and clear. Are you getting cold feet? A little, my wife admitted. Her voice was smaller than usual. Uncertain. What if this backfires? It won't. Trust me. Her sister's voice was confident. Assured. The voice of someone who'd done this before and thought they knew how it would go. Men need to be taken down a notch every few years. My first husband became a completely different person after I filed for divorce the first time. You mean when you reconciled? Exactly. He spent 6 months trying to win me back. Best 6 months of that marriage. Flowers every week, expensive dinners, jewelry, the works. Then it went back to boring, so I left for real the second time. So you think if I go through with this, he'll change? He'll worship the ground you walk on. And if he doesn't, you still have the divorce papers ready. Win-win either way. You can't lose with this strategy. I guess you're right. My wife sounded convinced again. The doubt was gone from her voice. Friday is going to change everything. I stood at that window, water glass sweating in my hand, and felt nothing but disappointment. Not anger anymore. Just profound disappointment. This woman I'd built a life with, this woman I'd trusted with everything, viewed our marriage as a game. A strategy. A situation where I was a player to be manipulated for a desired outcome. That evening, I made a phone call of my own. To the restaurant. I explained the situation to the manager. Professionally. Calmly. I told him my wife was planning to create a scene, and I wanted to handle it with dignity. He was sympathetic. We made arrangements. Thursday crawled by. My wife could barely sleep. She was committed now. No second thoughts. No guilty conscience telling her to call it off. She was going through with it. Thursday evening, she asked me a question. I can't believe it's been 5 years. Are you happy? Are you? I asked. She didn't hesitate. I think I will be. Then she caught herself. I mean, I am. I just meant tomorrow will be perfect. I understood completely. Tomorrow will definitely be memorable, I said. Friday evening arrived. I told her I had a last-minute work thing and would meet her at the restaurant. She looked relieved. Probably wanted time to prepare with her friends. Time to get into character. I arrived at Flagstaff House at 6:15. 45 minutes early. The restaurant sat on a hillside with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Boulder. The kind of place where you pay for the view as much as the food. I met with the manager in his office. Explained the situation professionally. Showed him just enough of the screenshots to prove I wasn't crazy. He was sympathetic. Told me about his own divorce. He agreed to my plan. Our family started arriving at 6:45. Her parents thought we were announcing a pregnancy. They brought champagne. Her mother was glowing with anticipation. My parents were confused about the important family conversation, but excited to be included. I greeted everyone warmly. Deflected questions. Let's wait until everyone's here, I said, smiling like a man with nothing to hide. Her sister and friends arrived dressed like they were attending a Broadway show. Designer dresses. Perfect makeup. Whispering to each other and exchanging knowing glances. The sister gave me a hug that felt predatory. Her smile was too wide. Too eager. I smiled back just as wide. Matching her energy. Giving nothing away. My wife arrived at 7 sharp. Separately, as she'd planned. She made an entrance. Wearing a new dress I'd never seen before. Deep red. Bought specifically for tonight. Hair and makeup professionally done. She must have spent hours getting ready. Spent money at a salon. All for this performance. She was carrying an elegantly wrapped gift box. Silver paper with a white ribbon. Inside that beautiful wrapping were divorce papers. The cruelty of that symbolism wasn't lost on me. She kissed my cheek. The kiss was cold. Mechanical. A kiss for the audience, not for me. We sat at a circular table the manager had arranged. Perfect view of everyone from every angle. My wife at one end, me at the other. Both sets of parents mixed between us. Her sister and friends positioned directly next to her for support. Her backup singers. Her chorus line. Appetizers arrived. Bruschetta, calamari, fancy little plates that nobody was really eating. Small talk filled the air like smoke. Surface conversations about weather and traffic and work. But underneath it was awkward energy nobody could quite identify. Something felt off. My wife kept checking her watch. 6 times in 15 minutes. Her sister kept giving her encouraging nods. Little signals only they understood. I appeared relaxed, leaning back in my chair, engaged in conversation. Normal, like a man who had no idea his world was about to explode. My father leaned over. You seem in good spirits. Marriage treating you well? I've learned a lot in 5 years, I said. About to learn a lot more. At 7:35, my wife stood up suddenly. Glass in hand. Everyone, I'd like to make a toast before dinner arrives. The table smiled, expecting a sweet anniversary speech. Her sister and friends exchanged knowing looks. I remained seated, calm, watching. 5 years ago today, she began, I made a commitment. I believed I was choosing a partner who would grow with me, challenge me, support my dreams. She paused. Dramatic. Families were starting to look confused. But sometimes, love isn't enough. Sometimes, you realize that the person you married. I interrupted. Still seated. Voice calm. Is about to humiliate you in front of both families because her sister convinced her it would be empowering? Complete silence. My wife's face drained of color. What? I'm sorry to interrupt your rehearsed speech, I said, standing now. I know you've been practicing it all week. But I think everyone here deserves to know the truth before you continue. I addressed the table. Not just her. 3 days ago, I accidentally discovered that my wife had changed my name in her phone to mistake. Curious about that, I looked at the messages underneath. What I found was a 2-week-long conversation planning tonight's dinner. Not as an anniversary celebration, but as a public ambush. My wife tried to speak. That's not. I continued. She planned to stand up tonight, give a speech about how I've disappointed her, and then present me with divorce papers wrapped as an anniversary gift. In front of all of you. The important family conversation you were told about? That was the aftermath she expected. You consoling her while I sat here humiliated. Her mother said, that can't be true. I pulled out my phone. I have the entire text thread. Her sister and friends helped plan every detail. The speech was rehearsed. The timing was calculated. Even the name change was suggested as a symbolic gesture. Her sister stood up. Aggressive. You went through her phone. I looked at her directly. I picked up her phone to check the time. The notification was on the screen. What I should have done was confront her immediately. What I did instead was give her 3 full days to change her mind, come clean, or cancel this plan. She doubled down every single day. Her father looked at my wife. Is this true? My wife was crying now, still trying to control the narrative. You don't understand. I felt unappreciated. They were just trying to help me find my voice. I read from my phone. Actual text. Tuesday, 3:44 p.m. Your message. He has no idea, right? Your sister's response. None. He's been planning his little toast about 5 wonderful years. It's going to be so satisfying watching his face when I go first. Visible recoil from both families. My mother spoke quietly. Heartbroken. You were going to hurt him on purpose? One of the friends tried to defend. It wasn't about hurting him. It was about empowerment. I cut her off. It was about entertainment. Quote, OMG, I can't wait to see this. Have you practiced what you're going to say? That was you, 3 days ago. The friend went silent. I looked at my wife for the first time directly. I need you to understand something. I didn't come here to humiliate you. I came here to show everyone, including you, that I have too much respect for myself to participate in your theater. My wife was in full panic now, grasping. But I wasn't really going to give you divorce papers. It was just supposed to make you appreciate me more. Like a wake-up call. I said, you wrapped actual divorce papers in anniversary wrapping. They're in that box right now. She was trapped. Yes, but I wasn't going to finalize. So you were going to hand me divorce papers in front of our families as a manipulation tactic? That's your defense? Her mother looked at her daughter. Please tell me he's wrong about the papers. My wife opened her mouth. Closed it. Couldn't speak. I addressed the table one final time. I invited all of you here tonight for the same reason she did. To have witnesses. But not to a humiliation. To a boundary. I removed my wedding ring. Placed it on the table. I'm not going to shout. I'm not going to make a scene. I'm simply going to leave. Because I deserve to be with someone who wants to communicate with me, not perform for an audience. I looked at my wife. Final words. You were right about one thing. Mistakes do take time to recognize. I recognize mine now. I married someone who valued her friend's drama over our partnership. That's on me for not seeing it sooner. I looked at her sister. Congratulations on your successful coaching session. You've helped your sister destroy her marriage for your entertainment. I hope it was worth it. I looked at both families. I'm sorry you had to see this. I truly am. But you deserve to know the truth. The reservation is paid for. Please, stay and enjoy your dinner. I have other plans. I pulled out a small wrapped gift from my pocket, placed it next to the ring. This was going to be my gift to you. It's a journal. I was going to write you a letter on the first page about how much these 5 years meant to me. I think instead, you should use it to figure out who you actually are without an audience telling you who to be. I left. The restaurant fell completely silent behind me. Later that night, around 9:30, one of her friends called me. The first one. The recently engaged one who thought she understood relationships because she read blogs. Her voice was shaky, uncertain. Hey, so, why weren't you at the anniversary dinner? The question was almost funny. I was there, I said. For the important part. What does that mean? It means mistakes don't celebrate anniversaries. They get corrected. There was a long pause. She's completely falling apart. She's been calling everyone. Crying. Saying she made a terrible mistake. Good. Maybe that means she's actually experiencing consequences for once. Don't you think you were harsh, though? I mean, she made a mistake. People make mistakes. No. She made a plan. A 2-week, carefully orchestrated plan to humiliate me in front of our families. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. Mistakes are accidents. This was intentional, calculated, and cruel. But she loves you. If she loved me, she wouldn't have spent 2 weeks planning to hurt me. Love doesn't rehearse humiliation. Love doesn't coordinate with friends to cause pain. Love doesn't change your name to mistake in their phone. The friend went quiet. Then, softer. I think maybe we gave her bad advice. You think? I asked. You convinced someone to destroy their marriage for entertainment. And now you're calling me to suggest I was too harsh? That I should have just taken it? Just sat there and let her hand me divorce papers in front of everyone? No, I just... She trailed off. We didn't think you'd actually leave. That's the problem. You didn't think at all. You just wanted drama. I ended the call. The text from my wife started around 10. From a number I didn't recognize. I'd already blocked her original number. She must have borrowed someone else's phone or gotten a new one. Please. I need to explain. This isn't what you think. I stared at the message for a full minute. Then I set my phone down without responding. 10 minutes later. I never meant to hurt you. They convinced me it would help our marriage. I didn't respond. 15 minutes after that. I'll do anything. Please just talk to me. We can fix this. I didn't respond. 20 minutes later. Are you really going to throw away 5 years over one mistake? That one got a response. I'm not throwing anything away. You wrapped it up and tried to hand it to me in front of our families. I'm just accepting your gift. But I didn't file the papers. They're not real. The papers are very real. I called your lawyer's office this afternoon. They're valid and ready for your signature whenever you decide to use them. But I wasn't going to sign them. It was just for show, and that makes it better? You obtained divorce papers as a prop for psychological manipulation? You were going to hand them to me and watch my face crumble? That was your version of improving our marriage. There was no response for 30 minutes. Then, can we please meet somewhere? Face to face? I need you to understand. No, just one conversation. Please. We had 5 years of conversations. If you had something to say, you could have said it any time. Instead, you chose a public performance. There's nothing left to discuss. I didn't respond. 20 minutes later. I'll do anything. Please just talk to me. I didn't respond. Finally, are you really going to throw away 5 years over one mistake? I responded once. I'm not throwing anything away. You wrapped it up and tried to hand it to me in front of our families. I'm just accepting your gift. 2 weeks later, the divorce papers were filed. By me this time. Real ones. Not props. Not theater. Just the legal end of a relationship that had already died in a group text 2 weeks before I found out about it. 1 month later, I received an email from her. A long one. Pages of text. She took full responsibility in that email. Said she understood what she'd done. That her sister was toxic. Her friends were toxic. But mostly, she was toxic. She admitted that. Said she'd started therapy. Real therapy. Not pop psychology from friends. She understood why I left. She wasn't asking for anything back. Wasn't asking for forgiveness. Just wanted me to know she finally got it. The mistake wasn't me. It was her. All along, it was her. I waited 2 days before responding. Needed to make sure I meant what I was going to say. Kept it short. Kept it honest. I appreciated her taking responsibility. That took courage. I hoped therapy would help her understand herself better. Help her learn to communicate instead of manipulate. Help her figure out who she was without people in her ear telling her who to be. But I told her the truth. I didn't forgive her. Maybe I never would. But I released her. Released the anger, the hurt, the investment in her outcome. What she did with her life from here was no longer my concern. I wished her well. I meant that. But we were done. Goodbye. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized. She didn't contest anything. Didn't fight. Didn't try to take more than her half. The house sold quickly. We split everything 50-50 down the middle. Clean break. No drama. Just paperwork and signatures, and a marriage dissolved like it had never existed. I got a new apartment in Boulder. Top floor of an older building with mountain views from the living room. Every morning, I'd have coffee on the balcony and watch the sun come up over the Flatirons. It was quiet. Peaceful. Mine. I started rock climbing. Something she'd always said was too dangerous. Too risky. What if you fall? What if you get hurt? Now there was nobody to ask those questions. Nobody to worry about my choices except me. I joined a climbing gym. Made new friends. People who wanted to challenge themselves. Push their limits. Find out what they were capable of. I started dating again. Casually. No rush. No pressure. Just coffee here and there. Dinners with interesting people. Conversations that felt real. Nobody was testing me. Nobody was playing games. If someone wasn't interested, they said so. If I wasn't interested, I said so. Adult communication. Novel concept. Therapy helped. I went once a week for 3 months. Then every other week. Then monthly. My therapist helped me recognize my own patterns. How I'd been conflict avoidant. How I'd let small issues build up instead of addressing them early. How I'd prioritized peace over honesty sometimes. Those were things I needed to work on. Things I needed to change. But she also helped me recognize something important. Nothing I did justified what my wife had planned. Being imperfect didn't mean I deserved manipulation. Being quiet didn't mean I deserved humiliation. My flaws didn't excuse her choices. That was important to understand. To really internalize. 6 months later, I ran into her at Pearl Street Mall. I was with someone new. Laughing about weekend hiking plans. My ex-wife was alone. She saw me before I saw her. Our eyes met. She considered approaching. Decided against it. She could see I'd moved on. Actually moved on. I nodded politely and kept walking. My new girlfriend asked, "Was that someone you know?" "Used to," I said. "Not anymore." 1 year later, I wrote in my journal. The same kind I'd given my ex-wife, but bought another for myself. 1 year ago today, I walked out of a restaurant and into my real life. Time doesn't heal wounds. Growth does. I grew through the pain, through the anger, through the lesson. I learned that love without respect is just attachment. That communication without honesty is just noise. That I'd rather be single than be small. Most importantly, I learned that I don't need to be anyone's mistake to know my worth. Mistakes don't celebrate anniversaries. But lessons? Lessons last forever.
Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.